Okay, I wrote here, dispositional facts are built-in commitments.
Built into commitments.
Are built into commitments.
Yeah.
Okay. That's it?
Dispositional facts presuppose bodies.
Dispositional facts presuppose bodies. Okay, where do you have that from?
What do you mean, where do I have it from?
Yeah, did you read that in a book, or where does that argument come from?
Which argument?
The argument which you just made. You said dispositional facts are built into commitments. Dispositional facts
the fact that dispositional facts are built into commitments is something that Kill Bill Grommy argues for.
But I think I understand why he doesn't know the other arguments. I mean, he has just one, which is a knockdown argument for theism. Dispositional facts are built into commitments. Dispositional facts presuppose bodies. Checkmate, there is no God.
Do you have some refutation of that?
Well, I don't even understand your argument.
So why are you mocking it?
Well, you
right now I'm just confused.
You claim that it is such a strong argument refuting theism. So I suppose that you are intellectually satisfied and don't need anything else.
Yeah, so again, you have a refutation of the argument?
It didn't really explain why you were mocking it.
Yeah, like, I'm confused. Like, if you knew what the argument was and then you mocked it, it would make sense. But if you don't even know what the argument is in the first place, like where's the confidence coming from?
I didn't mock the argument.
This is why I was calling you dishonest, Otangelo.
I didn't mock the argument. I just said if I had such a strong argument refuting theism,
this is why I called you dishonest. This is why I called you dishonest, right? You don't even have the honesty to admit that you were mocking the argument, right? You're just a piece of shit. You're just a complete piece of shit.
Okay, that's something that needs to go in the soundboard. Jesus.
Like, why do you do this, right? People ask you for an argument and you just repeat claims. I mean, there's really nothing more to say, right?
We had a troll. I banned them.
Name calling is the lowest form of discourse, and calling me a liar is in the same category. And so you are completely. I have absolutely no respect for you, Jack.
Whatever will he do?
He's devastated.
Why would you think I'd be interested in the respect of a dishonest piece of shit like you?
Yeah. Canadian Catholic, are you happy with people like Jack in your...
One of the reasons why I thought it was important...
Because if it would be my stream,
one of the reasons
I would have kicked him out, you know.
One of the reasons why I thought it was important.
I have some rules.
Can you mute him while I'm talking?
And one of my rules is that...
Can you mute him while I'm talking, please? One of the reasons why I thought it was important to stress this point about why he was asking for an argument from atheism, right, is that's just the Darth Dawkins shtick, right? He wants to give atheists, right, this massive burden that they need to prove that all gods cannot exist, right? When it would suffice to refute his view to just present an argument that Christianity is false, right? Otangelo doesn't want to acknowledge, right, that he's playing that dishonest game, right, which is why he wouldn't answer the question.
You know, Jack, I am asking the question, how can we explain our existence without a creator much before I was interacting with Darth? And that is precisely an answer to the common shtick of atheists, which always ask for evidence of God's existence, but are always avoiding the burden of proof. That's why they moved from strong atheists to weak atheists, where they don't have the burden of proof. So my point is that both sides have the burden of proof, and you have it as well. I mean, you defined your argument, which you think you are happy with, which I don't actually even understand, but anyway, and you think that justifies your worldview. Hey, go with it. If you're happy with it, and if you're happy with your worldview, go for it.
Do agnostics have a burden of proof, you piece of lying garbage?
Well, you said that you are a strong atheist. I asked you
I didn't ask you that. I didn't ask you that, you fucking piece of garbage. So I'm going to repeat the question, right? And I'm going to watch you not answer the question, right? Do agnostics have a burden of proof, you fucking piece of lying garbage?
Well, you said that you are a strong atheist.
I didn't ask you that. I didn't ask you that.
So
right?
since you claim that you are,
you just for while I'm talking. Yeah. So Otangelo, I'm going to repeat the fucking question, right? Do agnostics have the burden of proof? Oh, you left.
I think there is absolutely no problem. I think there is no problem to start with a hypothesis God exists, and then you try to substantiate it. That is what atheists do. They start with the null hypothesis.
Yeah, Otangelo, and by doing that, you should be able to show the contradiction that if you don't start with God, that your worldview just falls apart and is contradictory, right?
I don't really understand what it means to say that you start with the proposition that God exists and then substantiate it. Why
It means
is
you posit it like a scientific hypothesis.
Yeah, so
you can try to falsify it.
So you're not committing to it existing. You're
Right,
saying,
exactly.
well, if he were to exist, this is what we would expect to see. Yeah.
Which is not a presupposition in the strict sense that Matt is trying to say it is.
Yeah.
In this case.
But I just don't see what predictions the God hypothesis generates. I
can give you many. That is not a difficulty at all.
Show me how the God hypothesis generates a prediction.
Okay, first of all, the contrast here is intelligence versus no intelligence. There are signs of intelligence that we know only intelligence can generate certain things, which non-intelligence cannot generate. Like an example is meaning assignment of words.
I think you're misunderstanding the question.
Yeah, I didn't ask you that. I asked you to show me how, from the God hypothesis, it predicts any state of affairs.
That's precisely what I just answered now.
No.
God is synonymous. Let me answer, please. Let me answer, please.
You didn't. No.
Wow.
You didn't
are
understand
interrupting
my
me,
question.
and when I interrupt you,
I'm interrupting you for a reason. Yeah, because you waste my time. I'm interrupting you for a reason.
No, I'm not wasting your time.
Yeah, you are wasting my time. I'm explaining
your
to you.
question.
I'm explaining to you what it is that I want from you. I don't want you to say, "Oh, here's some phenomenon. We don't know what accounts for it, other than mine."
That's not what I say, and you are now wasting my time. No.
Let me just ask other people here. Is that what he said? He said the only way we know about meaning assignment is because of intelligent beings, right? But that's not the question that I asked him. I asked him to show me from the existence of God to derive a prediction about what states of affairs we should see, right? I don't want to hear anything else.
That's what I answered.
No,
that's
exactly
what we should predict to see meaning assignment in nature. God exists.
Listen to me. What you said is that meaning assignment, right, is something that we understand is created by minds, right? But I didn't ask you that. I asked you, if there were a mind, what would we expect to see, right? Because it's perfectly consistent with there being minds that there's no meaning assignment at all, right? So that's not an answer to my question. You need to show how from the existence of a mind, there are things that we should expect to see.
Right. You will not find a non-intelligent mechanism being able to assign meaning to
I already
signs and
addressed that.
words. That is
I already
something.
addressed
Why
that.
are you
Yeah,
interrupting
I'm
me?
interrupting
Why
you.
are you interrupting me?
I'm
You are
interrupting you.
interrupting
I'm
me. Stop
interrupting you.
interrupting
I'm
me.
interrupting
Stop
you.
being
I'm
obnoxious
interrupting you.
and
I'm
interrupting me
interrupting you.
because I
I'm
was
interrupting
exactly
you. Yeah,
answering
I'm
your
interrupting you.
question.
I'm
And you
interrupting
keep
you. I'm
saying that I am
interrupting
not
you.
answering
I'm
your question.
interrupting you.
Yes,
I'm
I
interrupting
am.
you. I'm interrupting you
Moderators,
because
please do something.
I'm interrupting you because I already addressed that point, right? And so
No,
you
you
repeating
didn't, and
that
I am
point, yeah,
clarifying.
I did. And I'll go through it again since you're too dumb to understand it, right? I
Okay,
didn't ask you to tell me.
if you are not capable of having
Me.
an
Stop
educated
over-talking
Alright,
me.
one at a time.
Stop
conversation
over-talking me.
without name
Stop
calling, then
over-talking
this
me. Yeah,
conversation
you
is
can go
over.
fuck off. You can go fuck off then. I don't give a fuck. Right? You don't even answer a fucking question. Why would I care that you don't want to continue the discussion? Right? I asked you to show me how, starting from the existence of a mind or a divine mind, there's some expectation of what we should see given that it exists. Not the other way around. Not to say, oh, here's some from some phenomenon, right? And the only way we know how to explain it is by appeal to a mind. Does the God hypothesis predict anything?
You know, Jack, the thing is that I don't have to predict anything once I already know by own experience that I, as an intelligent being, can create machines, factories, and blueprints. But it has never been demonstrated that unguided random events can instantiate the same. And that is one of the things that precisely has to be explained when we look into a cell, where we see a genome which is storing instructional assembly information, directing the making of irreducible complex machines and cell factories.
You
So was
answered the
that a yes
question.
or a no? Yeah. Was that a yes or a no to my question?
Doesn't predict anything because we are talking here about events which supposedly happened just once in the past.
No, I don't mean that the event. I don't mean that it predicts something in the future from now. What I'm asking is, starting from the God hypothesis, can we derive expectations of what observations we should have given that the hypothesis is true?
Yes, we should see in the natural world systems which are based on instructional information. If we see machines, factories, computers, hardware, software, transistors, energy turbines, then we should expect that intelligence explains these phenomena adequately. And that's what we precisely observe in nature.
Yeah, so can you show me how the hypothesis generates those expectations?
As I told you, we have experience and knowledge that we as intelligent beings can instantiate all these things. Why science has failed to demonstrate that non-intelligent mechanisms can instantiate these things. Therefore, an intelligent creator is a more case adequate explanation.
No, that isn't the question that I asked you. Did you hear my question?
Well, maybe rather than insisting in asking something which eventually your interlocutor doesn't precisely give you an answer, maybe just listen what your interlocutor is saying and then try to digest it, because what I told you is sufficient
Business.
reason for you to become a theist.
Yeah, well, that's a claim,
That's a claim,
right? I'm trying to
right?
examine the nature of the claim, or see if the claim is justified.
Okay,
So,
ask me a simple question, please.
no, I'm
Are
not
machines,
interested. I'm not interested in your question.
yeah, you ask
I'm
always,
interested.
yeah,
I'm
yeah, you
interested.
to
Yeah,
ask
I'm interested. I'm
questions.
interested.
your
I'm interested in an
interlocutor
answer. I'm
play
interested in an
and
an-
answer
I'm
exactly
interested.
what
I'm
you ask me,
interested.
then
I'm
you start
interested.
your
I'm
stupid
interested.
game.
I'm
And I'm not
interested.
playing
I'm
God,
interested.
shut up, Otangelo.
Yeah, I'm
okay?
interested in an answer to the question that I asked you that you didn't answer. And in fact,
He left, bro.
okay.
Yeah, he left.
Oh,
So
it's Christian.
Tangela Aleph thinks that he's never heard a decent argument for the existence of God. Maybe
Wait, I wanted to
you're
ask
the
Otangelo. I
guy.
wanted to ask
Yeah.
him because he ran away the other day. Otangelo, so do we agree that the God hypothesis doesn't predict anything?
No, we don't agree on that.
Okay, so what does the God hypothesis predict?
The God hypothesis is that intelligence can always create motors like outboard motors, energy turbines, software and hardware, computers, machines, factories, transistors. It has never been demonstrated that non-intelligent mechanisms can instantiate those things for specific purposes. So the prediction is that whatever you attempt, whatever scientific experiment that you do, you will never achieve and get any of those things which I just mentioned by natural means.
Otangelo, can I ask you a
Wait,
question?
did I ask you what is predicted by like naturalism? Is that what I asked you?
What I am saying is that under theism or the God hypothesis, we can predict that these things can be instantiated because God is intelligent, and we, by our own experience, we know that we as intelligent beings can instantiate these things.
Wait, did I ask you if God exists, what God could do? Is that what I asked you?
I was very clear in my answer.
Yeah, but what's the answer to my question?
I already answered your question.
What was Otangelo's answer to my question? Does anybody know? Here's my question. Did I ask Otangelo if God existed, what could God do? Was that the question that I asked him?
You
He says
asked
he
what.
answered that question, but I don't
No,
know what the answer was.
no,
He
he
refused.
hasn't answered that question.
Repeat your answer, please.
Sorry?
Repeat your question, please.
My question is, did I ask you if God exists, what could God do?
No, the first question which you asked, what was it?
I asked, what does the God hypothesis predict?
Okay, so the God hypothesis predicts that God can instantiate hardware, software, computers, machines, factories, blueprints, transistors. That's what the God hypothesis predicts.
Yeah, now did I ask you if God existed, what God could do? Is that what I asked you?
I told you that the God.
That's a yes or no question.
Why are you interrupting me when I'm
Because you're
answering?
not answering my question.
Yes, I
So
am
I'll
answering your
repeat the question.
question.
I'll
Again,
repeat the
please,
question, and
I am
I just
sick of
want a yes. I just want
I,
a yes or no.
okay,
Okay. The
no
question is,
conversation.
did I ask you? I don't understand why you're still talking. Here's the question. I just want a yes or no. Did I ask you if God exists, what could God
He's
do?
gone, Jack. Oh no, he's still there.
Okay.
Never mind. Go ahead. He's still there.
You're gonna do
No,
that
I will
every
not
time.
engage Jack anymore because he plays these games all the time. He
Yeah,
is not
but
he is just interested
oh,
to play games, and I am not in anymore with him.
no,
So
no,
if
Otangelo, I'll explain to you.
Jack is
The
here,
question is not
just ignore him, okay?
okay. Whatever.
Hello?
Anyone else has a
Were
question?
you not going to answer that question,
He
Otangelo?
he's doing the Darth Dawkins thing.
Just head in the
He
sand.
can't respond, so he's running away.
I said already that I will not engage Jack anymore, okay?
Yeah,
So
you
if
know
anyone
why
else
you
has a
won't engage? Because you realize you don't have an answer to the objection. That's why you won't engage, right?
Okay, let's suppose I concede that the God hypothesis doesn't make any predictions. So what?
Well, if evidence is what's expected on a hypothesis, then it would follow that there's no evidence for the existence of God.
Jack, believe what you want. Eternity is yours.
Anyway, welcome to atheism, Otangelo.
Well, I'm not an atheist. I think atheism is foolishness.
We're just still trying to understand how there can be evidence for the existence of
You are
God
not trying to
if
understand
the
that.
God hypothesis
You're not
doesn't
trying to
predict anything.
That's all. You're not trying to comprehend the arguments of
So
the
does
other
it
side.
follow? So
You're
first of
not
all,
trying
do we agree that the God hypothesis predicts nothing? Do we agree on that? Am I mistaken in thinking that Otangelo is dodging?
No, that's right. Otangelo, Jack's just trying to have a good faith conversation with you.
No, he is not acting on good faith. That's why I'm not engaging him anymore.
What is he doing that's not acting in good faith?
I already said that I will not engage him anymore, so I appreciate
So I won't answer you.
You know, we have a hypothesis as to why you're not engaging, which is that you don't have an answer to the objection. What do you think about that hypothesis? Seems to me it's a perfectly reasonable question to ask whether the God hypothesis can predict anything, whether it does predict anything.
Otangelo, I understand if the question makes you uncomfortable, but there's nothing out of good faith here. He's being completely charitable.
Dylan, I'm not uncomfortable with the question. The thing is that I responded it already, but Jack seems always to be unsatisfied with whatever answer one gives. Then he starts to complain that supposedly the interlocutor didn't exactly answer the question the way he asked and what he asked, and he does that every time. So I am sick of it, and I don't want to engage him anymore. So if anyone else wants to engage, I'm fine with that. But
Well, it's
I will
true.
not.
You didn't. You did answer it when I asked you, but I had to like beat you over the head with it.
Wait, so is Otangelo on record now as agreeing that the God hypothesis generates no predictions? Do we have him on record agreeing to that, Tom?
He said it earlier, yeah.
Seems like it, yeah.
Okay, so the God hypothesis predicts...
I will try again. Under the God hypothesis, we can expect to see design in the natural world. Things that only intelligence can instantiate, like fine-tune things, select things, creating machines, creating factories, creating computers, creating transistors, creating rotary engines and motors, creating production lines, all these kind of stuff. We cannot predict or expect to see such things under the no-God hypothesis because random unguided events are too unspecific to bring forward such things. So have we actually observed all these things which I just listed right now? Yes, we have. Therefore, I think that the God hypothesis is a better explanation than the no-God hypothesis.
Okay, see, now he's contradicting what you guys said he said, right? So you see right there.
Yeah, but he started off with what God will do, and then midway he changed to what God can do.
Yeah, so You guys need
Right.
to clear that
So
up.
let me answer to that. I don't know what God's intentions are, so it's not upon me to speculate what God will do. That's only in God's mind. Now, what I
Well,
can
that's
do is make a distinction between what an intelligent agency can do and what random unguided events can instantiate. There is
there's that word again, can. I told you that's not what we're talking about. No one
Yeah,
cares
I
about
don't.
what God
I
can
mean, if you
do.
want to make foolish and nonsensical questions, then hey, go for it and just lose time and reach anything with it. I am giving you a framework upon which you can come to secure conclusions that the designer is a more case adequate explanation for what we see in the natural world. But I mean, I know you. I know Jack. I know most of you guys, and you guys just don't want to understand it. So you guys are irrational, and hey, again, eternity is all yours.
But so it's foolish to have expectations of the hypothesis. Is that what you're
Wait,
saying?
speak to him in Italian and Portuguese.
He's Brazilian.
He speaks
He
Italian
isn't he
and
Brazilian?
Portuguese.
Okay.
And German. Speak
No,
to
no,
him
he's
in
not
all
Italian.
three languages.
Not gonna, not gonna do that.
Yeah, I just got confused when you were saying things like assembly lines and automobiles, which are man-made things, which are demonstrable, having, origins in man, how that proves God. That was kind of odd. I didn't follow that at all.
What do you think was odd about what I just said?
Well, you're saying because there's automobiles, God. I don't see how
No,
that follows.
I didn't mention automobiles. I can
Assembly
mention,
lines in rotary engines. Okay, yeah. Assembly
yeah,
lines, therefore God. Okay.
yeah. There are
And how does that
several
how does
rules
that follow?
in
Wait,
biology.
why are you getting distracted with? We're just trying to get clear on whether the God hypothesis predicts anything.
And am I wrong, or didn't he just say that it's foolish
Yeah, so we
to
agree
have
to.
that
Can we? Let's just get
expectation?
him on record. He agrees the God hypothesis predicts nothing, not one
You,
single thing.
you see, Jack, that's why you're a dishonest interlocutor, because I just gave an answer to that, and you keep
What was his
insisting that I
answer?
didn't. So that's
Wait, but
dishonest.
Otangelo, you said maybe 20 seconds, 30 seconds ago, or something like this, that it is foolish to expect, or to delineate or try to answer what God will do, right? Didn't you just say that, or am I?
Meaningful questions, and not those questions which will not result in any clarification in regards of what we try to elucidate and understand, namely, if the God world is a more case adequate explanation for our existence rather than not. That is the question which is on the table. So asking what God's intentions are is meaningless. It makes no sense. It is not meaningful.
I don't think it was about. Am I wrong, or did no one ask about intentions?
Sorry, wait. Did he give an answer to the question? It's a simple yes or no. Does the God hypothesis predict anything at all? Yes or no?
What I heard is that he said that it was foolish for you to expect it to explain
Right.
anything.
So we're clear
to get an
then.
answer for what he
Otangelo
will
is
do.
saying the God hypothesis predicts absolutely nothing. So yeah. So wait. Let's just get clear. Does anybody know what Otangelo's position is? Does he think the God hypothesis predicts absolutely nothing, or does it predict something?
First, if you would ask, is God ontologically necessary?
Oh, okay. Well, are you changing your position now?
Wait, but what does ontologically necessary mean?
I
What does
have no
that mean?
idea.
Yeah,
What is it?
exactly.
It's necessary that it exists? Is that it?
Yeah.
Well, but
Is
it's a
it
modality.
necessary?
Like, what are the axioms?
Yeah, is it necessary to exist in the real world? That's what I mean.
Yeah, but what do you mean by necessary there? If you don't mean logically necessary.
You don't know what the word necessary means?
Well, I know what logical necessity is. I know what natural necessity is. I know what epistemic necessity is. Doxastic necessity. So what kind are you talking about?
I am talking about that God is necessary in order for us to exist.
Oh.
Because we are dependent upon Him.
Necessary in what sense?
Necessary because most likely the universe is not eternal. It had a beginning, therefore it has to be there someone which created it and sustains it.
No, but
And that's the necessity.
Yeah, but you
but
said
what
most likely, bro.
modality?
Yeah, what modality are you talking about, Otangelo?
I just explained. The premise or starting point is that the universe most likely had a beginning. Since
Okay,
nothing
Otangelo, can I ask you
God,
a
Wait,
That's
do
question?
not
you
to say
know
it's
do you
even
know what a
necessary.
modality is, Otangelo?
yeah, it deals in philosophy about necessities.
Right. So what is this modality specifically that you're talking about?
I just explained it.
So look,
No, you didn't.
if we're talking about logical necessity, we're saying that the worlds that are possible are the ones that are consistent with the axioms of a logic, right? That's what logical necessity means, right? Now, if we talk about natural necessity, we're saying something like the set of all naturally possible worlds consists in the set of worlds that are consistent with the natural laws that hold at this world, right?
Well,
So
the
that's the
thing is,
kind of thing that I'm looking for. I'm trying to understand the criterion, right, by which you're selecting a set of worlds as being possible.
well, the thing is that the laws which govern this world, they are not a free lunch. They are not just a given. They require an explanation. And that goes into the explanatory framework.
Well,
But
Now,
Otangelo,
when you say they require an explanation, you're presupposing the principle of sufficient reason, right?
Jack, I don't know what you mean by the principle of sufficient reason.
Well,
I'm
here's
not so
another
versed.
way to put the question.
You are.
Why is it that it requires why is it that natural laws require an explanation?
Because they are not grounded in anything deeper. Science has discovered them. Science has discovered as well that they are not grounded in anything else. That means that the fact that they have the values that they have requires an explanation because they are arbitrarily chosen. They could be different, and if they would be different, then we would not be here having this conversation.
Now when you say they're not grounded, is that different from saying that they lack an explanation?
The explanation is a philosophical issue which circles the evidence. So we have this evidence which has been discovered by science, and we try to find the best explanation for that state of affairs. And in my understanding, God, or the sustainer of all things, is the best explanation. If you think there is a better one, hey, be my guest.
That was a yes or no question, so I don't know what your answer was.
Yeah, playing games. You are a waste of time, Jack.
Uh-huh. So, see, because what I think you just did is I asked you why do they require an explanation, and you said because they're not grounded, right? Which is just to say that they lack an explanation. So when I asked you why they require an explanation, your answer was because they have no explanation, which is just no answer at all, right? And so, of course, when I point this out, right, then you say I'm a waste of time, even though you're the one giving bullshit non-answers to straightforward questions, right? So I don't see why I'm a waste of time, right? Because all you do, right, is come in here and dodge. How many times have I asked you whether the God hypothesis generates any predictions, right? Or when you came in here and complained about the transgender thing, we rendered the argument and you couldn't refute it, and all you did was insult us, right? So it's a perfectly reasonable question, right? I asked you, why do the laws require an explanation? Because when you say, don't overtalk me, right? You complain when people overtalk you, you fucking dumbass. Don't overtalk me, wait until I'm done, right? So what you did was make a claim, which is that the laws require an explanation, right? And I'm trying to get a justification for that claim, overtalker. Right? I'm trying to get a justification for that claim. So I asked you, why do they require an explanation? Right? That's the way I'm asking for a justification for the claim. Why do they require a justification? Right? And what you said in response to that was that because they're ungrounded, which is to say they have no fucking explanation. That's not an answer to my question.
I don't know if Otangelo, you know you've been muted, so if you're talking.
I want just to know why someone would invent and put such a stupid title in the room.
Would you want to hear the
See,
argument? Is that what you're
so
saying?
here's a reason to think that Jesus is transgendered, right? He doesn't have a biological father, so he only has XX chromosomes, but he identifies as a male.
That's pretty compelling.
So that's a reason to think that Jesus is transgendered.
Otangelo, your response?
Yeah, I want to see when you stand in front of your judge and you telling
Oh,
him
so no
this,
response. Okay.
what will answer to you.
Is there something wrong with the argument?
No, nothing, Jack. Absolutely nothing. It's everything all right.
So you agree that Jesus is transgender?
Did I say that?
Oh, well, why wouldn't you accept the argument if there's nothing wrong with it? See, this is why people accuse Otangelo of dishonesty. Because he's basically a dodger. When he can't
You
show
were
that
given
there's
a pretty
something
clear
wrong with an
argument.
argument, he just shuts down. It's the same thing with
I just told you, Jack. It is everything all right. Everything is all right.
See, now he's just kill screening, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
This is
he's
the same
upset
thing.
again.
This is the same thing that happened with him claiming that there's evidence for intelligent design, right? I asked him if the God hypothesis generates any predictions. He couldn't come up with any predictions that it generated. At best, he could say that if God existed, he'd be capable of doing X, Y, and Z, right? But having the capacity to do X, Y, and Z doesn't mean that it's likely he'll do X, Y, and Z. So when I asked him if he agreed that the God hypothesis doesn't generate any predictions, he just kill screened. Because, of course, he realized that it would look really bad as an intelligent design proponent to concede that the God hypothesis generates no predictions.
Well, Jack, I think you should just keep believing that machines, robots, production lines, factories, energy turbines, transistors, and
Why
all this
don't you
kind of
respond
stuff
to what he
just
said instead of just
randomly
like making another
assembles.
claim?
Just keep. Why are you interrupting me,
Because you
Delano?
didn't respond to
So,
what he
Jack,
said, and I don't
you
want to
shut.
like watch people
You
just
you
make
shut
claims.
up. Shut up.
That's
So,
rude.
Jack, you should
Yeah.
just keep believing that machines self-assemble. I mean, how stupid is that?
Yeah, now when you say it's stupid, I take it you mean something like it's irrational, right?
Of course, it's irrational, and that's what you have to stick to. Why do you believe such nonsense?
Yeah. So, now if it's irrational, I take it that that means that there's strong evidence that the proposition is false, right?
Have you ever seen a
That's what you
machine
mean?
self-assemble, yes or no?
Well, that's not an answer to my question.
Answer mine.
Why are you asking me? Why are you responding to my question with a question? I don't get it.
Yeah, you're just sidestepping. Typical for you, Jack.
And you're not sidestepping when you dodge my question?
My question is relevant to the issue. Can a machine
My
self-assemble, yes
my
or no?
question wasn't relevant?
No, mine is relevant. Why do you believe that the machine can
Wait, why?
self-assemble?
In virtue of what is my question not relevant exactly?
Yeah, keep sidestepping.
You're not sidestepping when I ask you
Typical.
a question. You don't answer it, and in fact, respond with a question rather than answer it.
You know why you're still an atheist, Jack? Because that's what you always do. You sidestep, you don't think, you make
And you
stupid
don't sidestep.
questions.
You don't sidestep. Is that what you're
My
saying?
proposition is
You're
very
saying you
clear.
don't
If he's
sidestep.
My
sidestepping,
proposition is
if
very
he's
clear,
sidestepping,
Jack, and I
then
make
the
a positive
hypothesis that he's
claim.
sidestepping makes you an
Machines
atheist
are
is false.
always designed. Prove me wrong.
Great. Why should I prove you wrong? Why would I accept the claim?
Prove me wrong.
Oh, you don't accept the claim, so you think machines are not always constructed by intelligent people?
I don't see why they have to be.
Well, that's just stupid, Jack.
Yeah, now saying it's stupid isn't actually providing an argument, it's just a claim.
Well, I think that it is very obvious to an 8-year-old that machines are always designed, they never self-assemble. And you just sidestep, you just talk nonsense, you never acknowledge the obvious.
Yeah, now, it seems to me some things that are obvious are false.
Now would be the
Right?
opportunity if you would be a rational person just to agree with me, which you are not because you're not rational.
Well, see, again, the claim that I'm irrational,
Blah 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 blah
right,
blah
is
blah blah
what
blah
I'm
blah
asking you
blah
to.
blah 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 blah.
Yeah, so
Blah
now,
Whoa,
so
whoa.
now,
What is all this?
Now
blah
so
he's
now,
literally kill
What
swinging.
is this, Otangelo?
is this,
Come
are you
on.
trying to commit suicide by mod, Otangelo? Is that what you're doing?
He left.
I can't
Wow.
believe he did.
That was oof. He's been real pissed.
Jesus might have been tempted to be
They,
gay.
Otangelo, they had a room yesterday that was called something like it was Jesus transgender. It was arguing that Jesus was transgender.
Yeah, Otangelo came into that room and started attacking us. We gave him the argument. He couldn't refute the argument, so he just started to insult us.
What's the argument that Jesus is transgender?
I insulting? No, I was insulted. I was called tons of names.
I'm actually pretty interested in hearing what this argument is
Well,
too,
one
honestly, for
argument
my
is
own
just that
entertainment.
Jesus doesn't only has XX chromosomes. So if he identifies as a male, right, that just means that he's gone from being biologically female to identification as a male.
Oh, what do you think about that, Otangelo?
I dig it. I dig it.
It's a very important issue in order for you guys to have forgiveness of sins and salvation. I'm sure about
Did anybody hear what
Otangelo,
he
are there
said?
any verses? Oh, I don't. Get closer to your mic, dude.
that. It's certainly a very important question for you guys. Elucidate if you will have forgiveness of sins and eternal life.
Can you address the argument?
How does that have
That's
anything
not
to
what's
do
being
with that?
asked of you.
You guys should be concerned about meaning of life, eternity, forgiveness of sins. This is what is relevant because you are all going to hell.
Why are you
You should be
misgendering
concerned about
Jesus?
the
That's
fact.
the deeper concern.
The claim that we are going to hell is precisely what's in question here, whether you have a good justification for believing that. And it doesn't seem like you do.
Your opinion is completely irrelevant, Jack. I have the Bible, the New Testament, the Gospels.
He presented an argument.
Yeah, I presented multiple arguments against your position, none of which you've been able to address.
You poo-pooed.
What?
Otangelo has a. Remember yesterday when he went blah 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 blah.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
Good. That was the best.